Hello everybody, this is Spring Werewolf back here with part 2 of What If Deku was the ultimate werewolf. Okay, so before he's in the situation that he was at now, Izuku went through some immense emotional training to control his eyes, as well as his ears and tail so they wouldn't show. This took him around a year off of school. And during, before this year off of school, he was in a relationship. And, well, we'll get into that later. And also, what was it? Ah, yes, I have added a few more abilities to the null magic. Okay, so his null magic, allows him to now, what is it? It gives him temporary time stop, so he can stop the world's time without him stopping for around 15 seconds. He can teleport using the magic, and he can give him temporary buffs. Okay, so let's go to Izuku's view. Mom, Dad, where are you? As Izuku wakes up in a hospital, vet clinic. Then he looks around and sees 3 people. As he asks, where is he and what's he doing here? Give me a second. As a man says, hi, my name is Dr. Deaton, and we were wondering what are you doing and what you're doing here. As Izuku replies back with, well, I went through this portal that my parents told me to go through, and I wound up here. As this man asks, where do you come from? Well, as he says, America. And Deaton says, I think you might have gone through a, dimensional gate. It allows you to, go through dimensions, during semi-times of stress, or it can just be opened by a, unnatural cause in, time and space. As then a kid under the kid speaks up saying, hi, I'm, Scott. And, as he then, asks, are you a werewolf or something? As, Izuku replies back with, how'd you know? As then Scott replies back with, well, I can tell by your scent, as well as some odd vibes that are going from you. As then Izuku gets up and he tries to walk over to them to give them a shake, like a handshake. As then, when he tries to go up to them, he puts his hand out, as then this weird barrier pops up, like, right in front of him, as he asks what the hell is it, and they say that this is a way so that he doesn't attack them. As we go into a flashback to when they found him, as when Izuku popped through the portal, Scott, Styles, Lydia, Derek, give me a second. As well as Liam and Kira, training in the forest at the time, right as he comes out of the portal, since they were training at night. As then, they see him on the ground, and they go over to him, but then Izuku's eyes open, and they're red. And as he transforms into his werewolf form. But before I continue, some more things I just remembered. You remember that mark that I showed you? Give me a second. This mark here. So Aaron has one. Since his one, all the parts that are outlined red, that symbolizes something. Each one of the ultimate werewolves, get one. that appears somewhere on their body. It can range from their shoulder to well, pretty much wherever on the upper part of the body. So also, if someone gets turned by the ultima, they also get this mark. So the red symbolizes anger, purple, purple love, green greed, and a whole bunch of other colors representing different emotions and as well as feelings. So what the color represents means that whatever color it is you get a power boost depending on what color it is. So say Aaron, if he gets angry enough, he gets a small power boost, which is why he was so strong against it. Why he was actually stood a good chance against Ian, even though he never really used his werewolf form. So love, you get a power boost thinking about someone you care about and protecting them, which is the one that Aphmau has. She has this on her right shoulder, while Aaron has it on his left shoulder. And well, Izuku hasn't gotten his yet, since it comes out during some really emotional stress. And well, yeah. So okay, let's continue on with the story. So Izuku is in his werewolf form, well, on all fours, but then he stands up, as in he attacks them. But then Brenton comes out of nowhere, using a tranquilizer, knocking him out. As then she says that she has to go. As then they bring him back to the veterinary place. As then Scott calls Derek, saying that there's some kid here that can transform himself into a werewolf. As then Derek comes, as Styles asks, is he like some kind of brother of yours or something? As Derek has a close look at him, saying, no, he isn't. As then, now we're at where we're at now. So, this pisses off Izuku, seeing this barrier keeping him restrained, keeping him locked up, saying that as he says, let me out before something bad happens. As Styles says that we can't do that. As Izuku replies back with, why? Why can't you do that? As then Lydia speaks up, saying it's for our protection and yours. As then Izuku replies back with, you're gonna need more protection than this. As then his veins, like his neck veins, start bulging out because of some immense stress that he's going through right now. As then he takes off his jacket like this. As then his eyes, they go red, and they can see this. His wolf ears pop out. His Aphmau ears pop. Werewolf ears pop out, as then his tail does, as then his claws pop out, as well as claws on his feet, as well as he starts shifting. He grows in a few centimeters, and his feet crack back into like the regular werewolf position. As then he ends out like this, starting off with, as he stands on all fours. As then he stands up, looking like this. As then he says in a deep voice, saying,
"Let me out before he takes over completely."
As they say, what do you mean by he?
My anger. It comes out during immense stressful moments.
As then he clenches his hands like this, as then more energy bursts out from his back. As then it goes all into him, filling him with energy. As then he starts bouncing off all the walls, bouncing and bouncing and bouncing, until he ends back onto the table. As then he growls, sending a shiver down everybody's spine, including give me a second, including Peter, where he hears this and he comes down straight away. As then he asks, what the hell has happened? As then he sees Izuku, saying, what the hell is this guy, and how the hell is he a wolf? As then he's still on the table at this point, as then he shoots a burst of fire out of his mouth, and with the doctor guy saying that he's definitely not from our world or reality, as then, well, he starts shooting fire out from every part of his body, as then he shoots fire out from his back, but then it retreats back inside of him, and this causing something different to happen, as with him starting to like growl even more and more, him getting angrier, as then he starts growling in pain, as then from his elbows start protruding claws. I mean, not claws, spikes, and then near his calves and on his back. This being some weird thing that's happened, as then he ends up looking like this, as he then curls up into a ball, as then he shoots out those spines from his back. This causing the entire room that he's in to ignite on fire, as then he passes out because of the amount of pain they just went through, unlocking this new form. And then he wakes up again, but this time he's, well, not caged up, with him everybody, with the doctor doing some checkups on him, saying that you're finally awake up. As Izuku asks how many days has it been, or hours, as he says it's been around 5 hours since you, well, lashed it out. As then the doctor asks, how old are you, boy? As he says 15. Well, that's odd, since, well, okay. Well, yeah. As then the doctor asks, well, so why are you here? And give me some more detail than you just went through a portal. As then, he starts telling the doctor, how he was going around his regular day, like going home from high school, as then he sees this portal in this dark alley, and you know what happened from there. As then he says, the doctor then asks, so you saw your parents right before you went in? As then Izuku says, well, yeah. As then he says, did your parents have any weird powers or something? As then Izuku says, my mom's the reincarnation of a god of my universe. As then this, well, makes the doctor dumbfounded, saying, like, your mom's the reincarnation of a god. As then Izuku says, more like a descendant. As, well, and then Izuku goes on to saying how he's the ultima werewolf, saying that, as then the doctor says, the ultima? You mean the original werewolf? Well, besides the beast of Nojota, or whatever it is. As Izuku says, well, I'm the ultima, but I have no idea what the beast is. As and the doctor says, well, in our world, I'm not sure if it's the same here, but the beast and the ultima were one of two were two sides of the same coin. As then, well, the ultimas here, their family split up to here, and they went to a different reality. He says, well, that's not what happened in my world. As then the doctor says, what do you mean, what happened in your world? Well, he says, well, in my world, the Ultima is this man who got cursed for killing a wolf while the wolf god was watching. And the wolf god cursed the man to forever be the Ultima. As then, the doctor says, that makes more sense than, well, but from their point. As then, well, the doctor says, the color of the Ultima's eyes here is purple. As then, Izuku says, well, my Ultima family's eye color has always been red. As he gives a as then the doctor is as then the doctor says so I'm going to presume that your ultima and our ultima are completely different, and the fact that they went to a different reality is probably something different, saying that they probably went to a different country or something. As Izuku complies with that, as then Izuku asks if he's okay. Well, if him and everybody else in the room was okay. As the doctor says, well, you're okay, everybody else that was in the room is fine. As Derek Hale comes out saying, so you're the Ultima. As Izuku says, yes. So, what powers do you have? Well, my ultimate abilities kind of got, as Izuku replies back with, my ultimate abilities kind of got delayed. See, in my universe, there's witches, warlocks, werewolves, and cat people. As Derek says, cat people? As Izuku replies back with, yes, cat people. As then Derek says, starts laughing, like gives us like a slight scoff, saying that that must be hell. As Izuku replies back with, not really. We actually get along with them. As he also says that werewolves don't have to hide their ears, and also as then Derek says, what do you mean by Derek says ears? What do you mean by that? As he brings out his ears and tail, even though Derek just thought it was part of his transformation. As then he says, our werewolves here don't have the ears and the tail. We just have the claws and fangs. As then Derek shows him the face as well as the claws and the teeth, as well as how the eyes here were completely different to the ones on Izuku's world. So as Izuku says, only the Ultima can turn people from human to werewolf. As then Derek says, here, werewolf, you have to be a alpha to, well, change a human into a werewolf. You have to either be bitten and or scratched. And, well, yeah. Let's see, okay, we're going for 17 minutes. So, then Izuku asks if, well, he can go and look for a way back to his world. As the doctor says, you're probably going to stay for a bit, so then we can do a little bit more testing on you to see if you'll be fine staying here for a bit. As Izuku says, okay. As then they do some more testing, saying that and Izuku says that since he most likely used fire in his transformation, that his mana reserves most likely are going to replenish. As Izuku says, that my mana is kind of like MP from a game. As they understand that pretty well, since it's actually a pretty easy concept to understand. And yeah, as Izuku goes out side, and it being night at this point, and it being a full moon, as then he runs into Derek, saying that you don't get affected by the full moon. As Izuku says, the only full moon that he gets affected by is a blood moon, and that just increases his anger by very much. But Izuku says that he can handle it, and unless he gets he's against someone that he really hates. As well, Derek understands this. As then Derek and Izuku explain what's happened in their lives. As Derek says how he lost in his entire family, and Izuku says that his ultra thing was delayed until he was like 10, and by that point my magic powers are already reserved, since I was actually human at that point. Well, before then. as he then says that I'm the only werewolf of my universe that can use both magic and be a werewolf. As Derek doesn't really understand this since he hasn't been to Izuku's universe. As I'll be back in in a few seconds for you. As we go to the next day, where Scott Stars and all the other pack you actually finally get to meet Izuku. But something that I should mention before I go on is I haven't watched season 6 yet, so I might include that later down the line. But I'll only be going into short things, so because he will only be in this dimension for a short while, which is a spoiler for what's gonna happen in the future. So Izuku gets to learn about everybody as well as everybody gets to learn about him. With him telling his story, saying that he got his powers delayed, as they relatively understand. As then they ask like how does his magic work? As he then takes his shirt off, showing that in his world, magic is controlled by glyphs that appear on somebody's body. But it's probably only in his world. But then Izuku says that he has no idea like how these glyphs appeared on humans' bodies at some point. As yeah. Then we go to around a week later, where Izuku is having his first day at, well, their high school. As then he says to the school stuff that he will only be there for a short period since his parents travel a bit. This being a complete lie, and them having to create a birth document for Izuku. As one day, Izuku was out in the woods, just walking along, listening to some music. As during this time, he ran into someone that he was not expecting. He ran into a white-haired girl with a blue t-shirt on, well, blue jacket. This being a girl. As I'll show you what she looks like. As she looks like this, but well, that's what her face looks like, but she is wearing the blue jacket and all. As then Izuku asks what she's doing out here, as she says that you should come with her. As Izuku asks why, as then she brings out her ears. These looking like the Aphmau ones, but her being white with blue tips at the end. Yeah. As Izuku just follows willingly. As they come to this house. As then Izuku goes inside, asking what's he doing here. As then a much older woman comes out saying that we know that you're the ultama werewolf of your universe. And we would like to test your strength. As Izuku says, what do you mean by we? As a whole council of people come out of the shadows. All of them having white hair. Well, some of them having white hair, some of them having different colored hair. Well, regular hair for that place. They say that we are the Council of Ultimas, saying that we have lived for, well, not all of us, but we are a generation of werewolves that are different from the regular werewolves. The regular werewolves being the ones that are descendants of the beast. And yeah. As Izuku says that he knows pretty much most of the stuff about the beast, so he asks for them to just continue. So they do. And then the girl pops up saying that he'll have to go through some trials to prove himself for some reason. As Izuku just goes along with it. As well, yeah. As yeah, they take Izuku to a mountaintop. As Izuku says, what do you need him to do? As a whole pack of wolves come out of the trees. As they say that you're going to need to fight them. As Izuku says, what do you mean by I need to fight them? What do I get for doing this? As they just say, fight and you'll see. As they start charging at Izuku one by one, but him just dodging each one. As then one of the elders say, it seems like he might be a pacifist. As Izuku hears that and say, I'm definitely not a pacifist. As then when another one of the wolves come at Izuku, he punches one of them right in the snout. This scaring it. As then Izuku shows them his eyes. Them looking like this. Also, something I should mention: the girl with white hair, her regular eye color, is red, as you saw in that. But her ultimate eye color is blue. As let's continue on. As then his ears and tail pop out. As he took his jacket off, and he looks like this now, since he has like all claw scratches on him from the wolves. As once the wolves took a look at Izuku's eyes, they just bowed. As then they go back into the forest. As then the elders talk amongst themselves, saying to each other, or talking to each other. And sorry if my talking is bad. I haven't done this in a while since I needed to have a break from YouTube because I also had to do school. But now I'm on school break, so expect a couple new uploads. So they bring him back into the house as they start talking. As then the youngest one of the elders that looks around 30ish comes out saying that we would like you to marry my daughter. As he replies back with, please repeat that, because as she says again, once again, I want you to marry my daughter. As then out of a hallway comes, well, the girl with white hair, saying that, what do you mean, Mom? I thought I was just going to have to watch him. As she reveals that she wants the next generation of us to be much more stronger than we are now. As well, the girl goes back into the hallway in a huff. As Izuki replies back with, I am not marrying anybody that I don't know. As then a whole bunch of the more werewolves, like ultimate werewolves of that universe, jump down, them baring their ears and them showing their eyes. Their ultimate eye color is blue. As then Izuku says, so you want to beat me into submission, huh? As then they say, if it's needed to. As Izuku says, bad choice. As Izuku, he decides to test out a new thing that he learned. So he just shoots out a burst of fire from his mouth. As then he swallows that fire back into his body. As then from his elbows comes out spikes. And from both of his elbows comes out spikes. Down his back, spikes. And from his calves, spikes. As then he starts, as his ears and tail come out, him bearing his claws on his hands and his feet. as he takes his jacket off. As then he says, "You're gonna lose this battle very quickly." As he finishes transformation with,
Now prepare to feel pain.
and then he starts fighting them. As he beats them one by one by one. As then the same girl with white hair comes out saying that they need to stop. And she says that she'll marry him. As Izuku says, "Well, I'm not gonna marry you unless I get to know you." As she says, "Just shut up so I can get this over and done with." As then the mother then tells her daughter to go with him and spend some time with her new husband. As then they get to know each other. As Izuku explains how he does plan on going back to his dimension at one point. But before he does, he'd like to get to know her. Izuku and, well, here's her name, Ava. Her name's Ava. Ava get to know each other. Really well, actually. Up to the point where they're actually really comfortable around each other. As, well, they get close enough as then Izuku one morning sees that on his body he has a new glyph. Give me a second. He has one right where the ninth one is. Him saying that, I'm pretty sure that's the dimensional glyph. As he gets a close look at it, saying that it is. As him saying that he might be able to get back to his dimension. And him telling Ray this new discovery, her being all happy for him, but inside it's hurting her, saying that because she started to get feelings for him. Izuku starts to see how he can bring out the dimensional powers that he has. So a month goes by and he learns how to bring it out. This being through mental motion, but he can only bring out small portals, saying that it's probably based on how much mana he has. As he says that he's most likely going to need at least like all his mana to be able to open up a portal to another dimension, like that's big enough to fit him into it. As when he gains enough mana, he says goodbye to all of them. As well, something that's to mention. He's quite good friends with Scott and Styles. He found them as like his best friends there. So he knows that he can count on them in the future, if need be. As they said that they will always be like brothers to each other. As Styles does agree with this, saying that he's only usually seen Scott as like a brother, but he's definitely now able to see Izuku as a semi younger brother. As they say their goodbyes, as right before Izuku leaves, Ava kisses him, saying that she hopes that he comes back in the future. As that's going to be the end of this part. Expect another part of this in the near future. So I will try and get my saying stuff better, but that's the only reason that I suck at it at the moment is because I haven't done one in a while. So goodbye, and hope you have a good night, evening, day, or whatever. So goodbye.